Every day you have to live it. How do you do that? Well, you're gonna have to learn how to self-assess so that you can self-actualize and be who you came to be. Here's a secret. Nobody cares more about your success than you. Nobody's getting up every morning and putting in the phone calls and doing the work for you. You have to want it for yourself. You have to want to live the life of your dreams. And you can absolutely do it. How do you do it? Well, you gotta start getting a little scared. I like to call this invitational fear, the F word, my favorite word. Invitational fear, because you've invited this fear in because you started dreaming a little bit bigger for yourself. Take a moment and think about a big goal that you have with pharmacy, what it would do for your life, what it would do for your family. If that doesn't make you feel a little nervous, you're not dreaming big enough. We don't get scared, we don't get fearful about things we don't care about. But when you're like, ooh, gosh, that's a big goal, I really want that, I'm scared to put it out there, right? Because what might someone think? Maybe what happens if I don't do it? What if it takes longer than I thought? All of those things, right? We make all these excuses and then we pull back and we play small. I like to call these butterfly goals. Because right now, you're just a big, fat, hairy caterpillar, right? We all know the story of the caterpillar though, right? The caterpillar is this big, fat, hairy caterpillar and it slugs around and it eats and eats and eats and eats and eats. And then it wraps itself up in a chrysalis. And it takes as long as it takes for it to emerge as a beautiful butterfly. Now, if you didn't know the science behind the caterpillar and the butterfly, you might think, oh, that's not possible. There's no way that that big, fat, hairy caterpillar can become that beautiful butterfly. But there absolutely is. And if you do not have a butterfly goal, you need to get one. And you need to make it happen over the next year right here at Pharmacy. And I'm gonna tell you my crazy, crazy butterfly goal that came true a few years ago. So I grew up in a really, really, really small town. 350 people. Yeah, not 350,000, 350, right? Like there's more of you in this room than all of Cortland, Kansas. And I grew up in this town, and we grew up in the 80s, and what we did for fun is we watched game shows. How many of you love a good game show? Okay, so we watched game shows, and I would tell my older brothers, I'm gonna be on a game show one day. And they were like, right. We live in north central Kansas. The nearest shopping mall is 90 miles away. I don't think a game show is in your future. So time went by, and I always would say, I wanna be on a game show. Right? And every time I would think about it, I would get really fearful and I would think, God, I can't put myself out there to do this. Like, who am I? Who do I think I am? How could Tara from Kansas ever get on a game show? And then I got into my 40s and I started owning it and I thought, you know what? I'm gonna get on a damn game show. That's what I'm gonna do. And I remember I told my husband, he's like, you're gonna get on a game show? And I was like, I'm gonna get on a game show. So I put myself out there. That's the first step, okay? You gotta put yourself out there. Again, nobody was knocking on my door being like, we heard you had a childhood dream of being on a game show. Nobody cared except for me. So I started auditioning and I started trying out and I started getting some really good leads, and then guess what? I got cast on ABC's $100,000 pyramid. Now, I would show you the video, but ABC's real kooky about who can play any ABC show without permission, but it's season 3, episode 3. I got cast on this game show. My childhood dream of getting on a game show finally came true, and guess what? I was scared as hell. I was like, oh my God, what have I done? This is national TV. Everybody's gonna know, and I'm sure I'm gonna be that person who says something really stupid, right? And then I'll be known as Tara from Kansas who went on the game show and lost and said something really stupid. Well, you're never gonna believe what happened. I said something really stupid. I got into the winner's circle, and Michael Strahan is there, and he, sets us all up, and I've got my teammates. This is Nicholas Gonzalez from The Good Doctor. He was my teammate, and he's giving me my questions, my names of, the people, and he says, he says, famous astronauts. And I looked at him very seriously, and I said, Lance Armstrong. And he starts going, a cyclist, a biker, like all live strong, all these things are like, no, 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 no. And the clock is ticking, and I was like, oh my God, I just gave a cyclist for an astronaut, and this is gonna cost me $50,000. And sure enough, the next clue comes up, things that are refreshing. And I said, ice cold lemonade. And he said, things that are refreshing. And I was like, yes. And I could not come up with astronauts. The next thing that came to mind was Buzz Lightyear instead of Buzz Aldrin. The time cancels out, and Michael Strahan comes over, and on national TV, he goes, did you think he was gonna ride his bike to the moon? I was like, oh God, it's happening. And I said, I lost all my astronauts. Now, when you're doing a game show, they don't stop the video ever, because it's a game, and they were sued in the 80s because someone was cheating the system. So now they keep the camera rolling, they give you like a little 5-minute break while they go to a commercial break. So they come over, and I am just mortified. I was like, oh my God, this is like my childhood dream come crashing down. I did everything, and I was scared out of my mind. But I was mentally fit enough. And I said, you know what? I had this conversation with myself. They cast you, Tara, because they like you. They cast you because they wanted you on the show. They cast you fully knowing you might say something stupid. It's not the last time or the first time I ever said something stupid. And I said, you know what? You're right, Tara. Just play the game. You've got another half to play, and you can do this. So rather than completely beating myself up and pulling myself down, I said, you're enough. Go have some fun. Go make it happen. And I got back into the winner's circle, and I won $100,000. Woo! This is what we call redemption. Anyway, I tell you this story because if Tara from Kansas, 350 people, can somehow get herself cast on a New York City game show, anything is possible. And if it's not making you scared, it's not dreaming big enough. Because here's a secret. Fear is the first sign that you're on the right track. Fear is the first sign that you're on the right track. Are you thinking, ooh, gosh, I want to talk to this person about being a beauty influencer, but I'm scared. Well, why are you scared? Probably because they'd be a really great beauty influencer, right? Get your chicken list out. Start talking to people about the business. Put yourself out there. The yeses are there. People need this business.